felt this something like come in the room, and I knew it was God. And it was like the most beautiful presence I had ever experienced.
Did you find Jesus or did Jesus find you?
Did I find Jesus or did Jesus find me? Both. I don't know if that's a fair answer.
I would say that Jesus found me.
I think about that question a lot, actually.
I think that I spent a long time trying to run away from what I knew was right and what I knew about God, because I just felt unworthy and really struggled with shame. So I think like when he met me, he took like a very small yes in my heart and definitely did more than like I could even imagine or thought he could.
I guess it's a little bit of both, but ultimately I think it's Jesus transforming me and Jesus choosing me.
I think of the verses in the Bible where it says like, when you seek me with all of your heart, you will be found by me. It says like, seek and you will find, like ask and it will be given to you, knock and the door will be opened. There's a verse that says, it's the glory of God to conceal a matter and the glory of kings to seek it out. So I think there's this theme throughout the Bible where God is like, seek me and find me. So I would say, yeah, that was definitely my story. There was a lot of desperation there and a lot of need for Jesus and me seeking him. But at the same time, there was really nothing I could do to kind of like get to know God by myself. Like all I could do was ask, and it was all on him to show up. So there was definitely like a part that I had to play, seeking the Lord, like really going after him, getting rid of distractions, and just like pursuing him. And he responds to that. Like he loves that. He loves when we seek him, and it was through that he ended up showing up in my life. But again, nothing I could have done to kind of like climb that mountain and like achieve that place of connection with him. I just had to ask and he came.
You know, scripture says, seek and you will find, right? Knock and the door will be opened. But it really sure seems like Jesus found me, you know, because I definitely wasn't searching. You know, I was off in the world kind of doing my own thing and got to the end of myself, and then that's where I feel like Jesus kind of revealed himself to me. But after that, right, I was seeking. So I feel like initially he found me, and then, you know, it's my job to continue to seek after he found me.
The question is, how did you find Jesus?
How did I find Jesus?
I feel like Jesus kind of revealed himself to me.
After I was assaulted in college my sophomore year, and after that kind of like led me into a spiral because I had been sexually assaulted growing up, and that was kind of like the last straw for me, or what I felt like. So I attempted to take my life a couple times, which led me to be hospitalized. And when I was at the psych ward, I had asked my mom to bring my Bible, and I didn't even feel like I could open my Bible, and I didn't even know that I still owned a Bible, but I just wanted her to bring my Bible. And I remember just placing it like on my stomach and putting my hands over the Bible, and just like that was the lowest of moments, and desperation, and like being at a place where you can't even have a hairdryer because it has a cord, and just like being in a place like the psych ward, which is very spiritually dark, to be honest. And I think that was just when I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I lived for a reason, even though maybe I didn't fully believe it at that point. That's when I feel like God met me.
Through other people. I grew up going to church, and I really despised the church because I would go to church with my family, and my dad, for instance, acted one way at church and a different way at home. And so every time I interacted at church, I despised it. And it was through meeting other Christians my age when I was in high school. I started going to youth groups that I met other Christians my age. And it was through those people that I started seeing Jesus, you know, choosing me through the people around me. And it's through the community and through the way that people treated me that were true Christians that I saw that showed Jesus' love that ultimately changed my heart.
I felt this something like come in the room. And I knew it was God. And it was like the most beautiful presence I had ever experienced, and this peace. And for me, that was pretty foreign. I didn't have a lot of peace in my life at that time, but this peace came in the room. And I just felt God say to my heart, I got this. I know what I'm doing in your life. And that was it for me. Like that was enough, like, to set me on a trajectory of going after God.
What was life like before a relationship with Jesus?
It wasn't good. I, from a very young age, had a lot of fear in my life. Like from the outside, my life was great. Solid family, good, healthy, Christian environment. But I had these like deep existential questions in my soul. Like, how is it that I exist right now in all of time? And will I continue to exist, or will I like stop to exist someday? Or maybe what church says is right and I'll exist forever and ever and ever. And that terrified me just as much as not existing. And is God really good? Or is he deceiving us? Because if he was, we would never know. And like these questions weren't just like, you know, hypothetical, like philosophical questions. They were like deep anguish to my soul. And I just had this fear. Like I said, my life wasn't that bad. Like things were good. But if you know the experience of like something's really worrying you, or like, and maybe you're waiting on the results of something, or you know, some tragic news happened, and you can like hang out with your friends and have a good time and laugh, but then like in the back of your mind, you know that things aren't great, and your laughter feels a little bit fake, because you know deep down you're broken. And that's kind of how my life felt. There was like this eerie backdrop music to my life, and that was just kind of like life went on, but that was always there. And when I had that experience with God for the first time and experienced that peace, like he didn't answer all my questions. He didn't come in and save me from all like these paradoxes that I was living in, but I experienced peace, and I experienced love that was stronger than the fear that I had. Before it was like, yeah, all of anything I had experienced in life didn't compare to the fear that I had, but this one was like, it was greater. This love that I experienced, this peace was better. So after that, yeah, things weren't perfect. A lot of my questions weren't answered, but I had hope because I had experienced something greater than my fears.
You know, I was off in the world, kind of doing my own thing.
Felt unworthy and really struggled with shame.
My entire identity was found through either having a ton of friends or doing really well in school. My life now that I know Jesus is very different. I think there's a confidence that I have in my life that because I follow Jesus, and I'm not relying on worldly things to define who I am as an individual, but it's my relationship with Christ.
God has put a lot of people in my life, in my community. I just turned 30, but I came to know God like fully when I was 19, turning 20, and that's when I really found the power of Christian community. And a lot of people in my life who are still family, and we've gone through a lot together. And I think that's where I saw hope, is like people stepping in and loving me when I'm like, you know, had to turn in a rape kit, or at the psych ward, or like going through crazy things with my family, or like breakups. Like they were there for me in all these crazy pivotal moments when I felt super isolated. And when you're in a lot of pain, you do feel super alone. And the power of community and people who are like second moms and dads to me, and people that were like, I used to babysit their kids, came and visited me in the psych ward, and now I go and like see them when I go home. And it's just, I always get emotional because I'm like, wow, if it wasn't for you like showing up and loving me in a really dark place, I don't know where I would be. So I see hope in people, and hope in people just showing up to like live life together.
Awesome.
You know, I think it looks different during different seasons of life. You know, currently I've been kind of leaning more into contemplative prayer and meditating on scripture and listening to worship and going on prayer walks. That's kind of the season that I'm in. It's really kind of light. Other seasons, you know, I'll be deep in theology and just reading, you know, different books, different spiritual literature. To kind of expand on my theological knowledge around God and around Scripture. And yeah, always staying rooted in the Word and prayer and community. I feel feel like those are kind of the three table stakes for, my foundation of seeking God.